Hey everybody, welcome. We now are going to go through a very important part called the second date. Now, if you haven't already watched the video talking about the survey, it's really important that you do that. We did a video explaining exactly how to use the survey and what the survey is for. This is the first time that you're asking for them to get involved in Doobly. So whether they watched the DVD, or they came to an open house, a home party, they watched the video online, after they had what's called an exposure, maybe a one-on-one presentation like this at a Starbucks or maybe at a hotel lobby, somewhere professional, we're going to ask for the sale. And again, there's 7 questions. They're all yes and no. And then it's an A, B, C, D order. And the very first time that I met with Blanca, after her first exposure, I did the survey with her. And the very first time that we did that in the scenario here, she happened to say no. And what no means, as you know by now, if you've been following our system, no really means not now. Now what's happening is that she had an exposure. I asked for with a survey. She didn't agree the first time she saw it. And now I'm meeting with her the second time for what we call a second date. And again, we go through this on the CDs. If you haven't listened to the CDs, you want to listen to them. We talk all about this, and repetition is the mother of all learning. You want to watch this video over and over and over again because you want to master this particular part of what's called the second date. And this is why we call it that. All of us that are watching this have been in some type of relationship. Sometimes you meet someone, you think you hit it off and things go really fast. And sometimes when you meet someone, things take a little bit more time. Some of you watching this got involved in Doobly right away. And some of you watching this, it took a little bit of time before you actually got involved. And you don't know who's going to say yes or no until you ask them. Right? So when you do that first exposure, do the survey. Right? If they say no, that means a not now, set up a second date. So now what I'm doing with Blanca, let's say she came to a Tuesday, Thursday night open house. Let's say that I did a one-on-one with her at a Starbucks. I'm going to meet with her again. So I'm going to meet with her. I'm going to build a little bit of rapport. You know, how are things going? You know, how are your kids? You know, I'm going to do a little chit chat, and then I'm going to pull this form out. And this form is called second date. Now notice it doesn't say second date on top of the form, right? That wouldn't be real professional to have there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask her some questions. Now, if you've listened to especially the Millionaire Mastery CD set, we talk about successful people ask questions and unsuccessful people spend all their time trying to answer questions. So right now what I'm doing is I'm saying, listen, Blanca, it was great meeting you today. Thank you for your time. You know, I really appreciate you getting back together. I want to make sure your questions got answered. And just let me ask you real quickly, Blanca, where do you see yourself in Doobly? In other words, do you see yourself as a team member, a team leader, a team coordinator, a sales director, a VP, or an SVP? Like, where would you see yourself in Doobly in the next couple of years? Like, where would you see yourself ideally?
SVP.
An SVP. And notice she said that. And so I'm going to circle SVP right here, and I'm going to put a little smiley face, right? So now I go, great. So let me ask you a question, Blanca. If that is where you ultimately see yourself, would it make sense to you, being an intelligent businesswoman or business person, if it was a man, would it make sense to you that you got started as close to that goal or as far away?
Closer.
It's close. So then where would you see yourself then? As A team member at $499, B, a TLA at $24.95, or basically $2,500, C, the business premier at $6,000, where you have the potential to make, again, as you probably remember, $13,000, or D, a business elite at D for $12,000, which has the potential of $39,000. Where do you see yourself? A, B, C, or D?
B.
B as a TLA. Great. So you see yourself here, and would you use a Visa or a MasterCard?
Visa.
A Visa. Okay, awesome. And now what I would do is that we would go online with her, and we would put her in the system. Okay, one of the mistakes that a lot of new people make is that when someone says yes, they keep going, right? Like ladies, how many of you ladies have ever been asked out on a date, right? And they say, hey, listen, you know, will you go out with me? And you're like, yeah. And they go, okay, great, because it's going to be awesome. Because we'll go ice skating tomorrow, and then what we'll do the next day is that we'll go snowmobiling, and then Monday night what we could do is that we could do a barbecue, and then what are you doing on Tuesday? And Tuesday what we could do is that we could go for romantic. Right now you're like going, oh my goodness, why did I say yes to this guy? Right? Because when they say yes, A, don't act surprised, and B, don't keep going. All right, there's a lot of people that they'll keep going. Right here she said yes. Boom, awesome. Now let's pretend that she said no. And again, no means what? That's right, not now. When she says no, we're going to go right down to here. And I'm going to ask her some more questions. Let's see, listen, Blanca. I'm going to talk to you about the value of money. Let's just forget about Doobly for a second here, okay? Let's just forget about Doobly. And let's just talk about money for a second. Let's just say that you took $5,000. And let's say that that $5,000 that you took and you put it into a bank, into CDs, okay? A CD right now is probably a 1.5 to 2.5%. Let's just pretend that there was a bank out there that would give you 5%. Would you agree that 5% is pretty unheard of in a CD?
Sure.
Okay. And let's just say that you did have a bank, you know, whatever, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whatever, and they were going to give you 5%. So 5% of $5,000 is $250, correct?
Yes.
And what would $250 per year times 3 years be?
$750.
That's right. That would be $750. And now I'm going to write that number in here for her. Okay, $750. Now, let's say that you got started in Doobly, not at $5,000, but let's say that you got started, as you said, as a TLA. A couple things. Number one, the TLA order doesn't look as big when it's $24.95. And by the way, when a lot of us got started in Doobly, a TLA was $7,000, by the way. So the $24.95 doesn't look as big now because you have a $6,000 and a $12,000 order. And you're going to find that the majority of people that come into your business will come in as a TLA because there is a $6,000 and a $12,000 order. Now it doesn't look as big. So let's just say here, Blanca, that not $5,000, but let's say that you did get started at $2,500, which would make you a TLA. It's $24.95, but right around $2,500. Okay, now instead of it being in a bank for 3 years to make $750, you come in as a TLA, and let's say that we help 3 other people do exactly what you did. Number one, Doobly, because you're at 10%, is going to pay you $750. But number two, Doobly is going to give you a $1,500 Fast Start bonus. So because you brought in 3 front level TLAs that got started like you, they're going to give you a total of $2,250. Now, let me ask you a question. Number one, do you think that it would make more sense to have your money working for you in your own business where you made $2,250, not in 3 years? Let's say it took us 90 days doing this. Let's say it took you a year doing this with me. Okay, do you think it would be smarter to basically have your money back, right? Because again, your TLA wasn't $5,000, it was what? Basically $2,500. Okay, you basically got all your money back, didn't you?
Yes.
Right? Do you think that you may know more than just 3 people that would want to do a business?
Absolutely.
And you would agree, when you look at all the ways that we get paid with the customers, and you look at the level, and you look at the generational, and you look at the Fast Start, and you look at the open line bonuses, wouldn't you agree that you're going to probably make more than just $2,250?
Yep.
Would you rather not have control of your money over here in a bank that isn't going to give you 5% on a CD? Or would you rather get paid here, almost break even? Can you think of a business, Blanca, that you could start that in 90 days, even a year's time, that you'd be in the profit?
No.
Okay, great. So which one seems smarter to you? This one or this one?
That one.
Great. By the way, how long does it usually take you when you get a credit card, when you use a credit card, to actually get a bill?
30 days.
In 30 days, right? Okay, so in 30 days. So, in other words, one of the things that, there's a book called Think and Grow Rich that I read, and it talks about other people's efforts, other people's ideas, other people's money. You'll meet a lot of people who don't see themselves as a good investment. And what's amazing to me is that before you even got your credit card bill, we could already have had 3 people signed up as a TLA where you basically have the money to pay it back or certainly make the minimum payment. And isn't that what successful business people do, is use other people's money? Great. Now she could have went from a no to a what? To a yes. Whether she says no or yes, remember, when they say yes, get them in the system. Right? Get them in the system. But now I want to ask her, who does she know? One of the biggest things that we are going to do when we get involved in Doobly is you're going to get down the statement, who do you know, who do you know, who do you know? So now what we're doing is we're now going into making a list. Now what we're doing here with Blanca, so listen, Blanca, Again, you've ever heard it's not who you are till you know? And of course, everyone's going to say yes to that. Well, great. Let me just ask you a couple of questions here. And just give me ballpark numbers. Like, how many people would you say that you know right now who travel, but they do it online? Whether it's Travelocity, Expedia, Priceline. Like, how many people, just ballpark me?
600.
600 people?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how many do you know that shop online? Just ballpark me.
400.
400. And what about that go to Costco or Sam's Club? They like to save money?
400.
400. And what about that listens to music online, like Pandora or some type of app?
500.
500 people. And how many do you know right now that know people in other countries? Like, how many family and friends do you know that aren't necessarily in North America?
200.
200. And then what about, do you know anyone that's really smart with their money, they're really conscious?
300.
300 people. Right? Do you know anyone that has a business? Like, it's a business owner? Like, how many people do you guess that you just know ballpark that own businesses?
500.
500. Okay, what about involved with like any charity, churches, nonprofits, people that like to make a difference?
200.
200. And do you know anyone that's a leader like yourself? Like anyone that's a mover and a shaker? How many?
400.
400. And who do you know that would really listen to you? You said, look, you need to take a look at this. How many people would you guess?
100.
100. Now what we've just done here is we've made a customer list for her. Right? So by now you know there's a free customer, there's a premium customer, it pays $4.95 a month, $5 a month, and then there's a $99 VIP customer. So what we've just done here is that we basically said, look at who do you know that could be a customer. Now her mind is already spinning. Like, I wish you could actually see her, because she's already thinking right now, well, you know, who do I know that, wow, there's a lot of people I know that are going to become customers. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. So now she realizes that she's not the only one that wants to become a customer. I'm going to say, listen, Blanca, we can do this two ways. We can do this where I get paid, I make money off all these people as customers, or we can do it where you get paid. Which would you rather?
I would like to.
Oh, you would like to get paid for. Okay, perfect. Now, let's not talk about customers for a second. Let's talk about business people. Okay, by now you know that we're looking for customers. We're also looking for doobly partners, right? Churches, nonprofits, big businesses, right? People that have big databases. But we're also looking for entrepreneurs, or what's called builders, much like you and much like me. One of the things that's important to notice is that the entire time that I've been talking to Blanca, I've always been assuming that she is going to do it. Right? I've never used the word, well, Blanca, if you decide to do this, and because those words create doubt. So instead, I'm always talking to her like, when you get started. Blanca, what I want to know are who are the 5 best people that you know. Right? I'm putting together a game plan right now. Right? In other words, I want her to know exactly what she has to do to build fast. So who would be the 5 best people that you know off the top of your head?
Jerem.
Jerem. Okay.
Brian.
Brian.
Todd.
Todd.
Brent.
Brent.
Michael.
And Michael. Okay, great. So I'm going to say, listen, just give me a ballpark. How many people would you say that Jerem knows? Just ballpark me.
500.
500. And how many would you say Brian knows?
5,000.
5,000. Okay, what about Tad?
Probably 5,000.
5,000. Okay, what about Brent?
Couple thousand.
Couple thousand. And what about Mike?
1,000.
1,000. Now I've done this on a yellow notepad rather, and I've had hundreds of names drawn out to where she can see it. And seeing is believing, as a lot of us have heard before. So now what's happening, and again, I'm doing this with her obviously. Now what's happening is her mind is starting to spin. She's going, wait a minute, you know what? What about this? And so let me ask you a quick question. Have you met anyone with Jerem that really sticks out in your mind, like a stud or a studette? Like, is there anyone that you've met with him that just really sticks out?
Yeah.
Who?
Patty.
Patty. And have you met anyone else through Jerem that sticks out in your mind?
Jane.
Jane. Okay, I'm getting her, I wish you could see her mind. She's starting to think. Okay, what about Brian? Is anyone you met with Brian when he stuck out?
Yeah, Galen.
Galen. Anyone that you met through Brian?
Doug.
Doug. Anyone else you met through Brian?
Michael.
Michael. Anyone else that you met through Brian?
I can't remember.
Okay, what about Tad?
Tad. Yeah, John.
John. Anyone else you met through
Sean.
Sean.
Whitney.
Whitney. You notice how fast those came? Because she's seeing the people that she's met with them. Okay, and what about Brent?
Sean.
Sean.
Nick.
Nick. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to do it for the video, but you keep going. Like, who have you met through Nick? Who have you met through Jane? Who have you met? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? Because now her mind is starting to go, wow, I knew a lot of people that knew that I didn't know. That's the power of this game plan. Now watch this. So what I'm going to ask her and say, listen, what I want to know is, number one, is what are the 3 ways that you would take care of your order? Like, in other words, do you have a Visa or a MasterCard?
Visa.
Okay, Visa. And if that Visa was full, what would be the second way you would pay for it? Would you use a debit card?
Debit card.
A debit card. And if that's something happened, would you use a MasterCard?
Yep.
Okay, and I want to have 3 ways that she can take care of this order. So what happens if her Visa's maxed out, and what happens if this guy Brian's a jerk? I could still go back to her and say, listen, I know that, but what about your debit card, and what about Jerem? And I could save her because I put together a game plan, right? This is almost like a business plan for a new potential person in your Doobly business. So now what's going to happen is she's seeing this thing grow. She's looking at, I got a game plan for her, and I'm going to go, listen. And guys, I've done this so many times, it's frightening. And it's really important. Who do you think is better right now at talking to these 5 best people? Her being brand new, her or me? And it's probably me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, listen, who are these 5 are you the closest to? Like who, if you picked up your phone and called them right now, who is it that you would feel the most comfortable calling?
Brent.
Brent? Okay, great. So do me a favor and pick up your phone and just real quickly call him. Just dial it. So now she dials it, right? And what would she do when she dials and she calls her friend?
Hi Brent, how are you?
Great job. I'm going to grab the phone. Hey Brent, how's it going? It's Buck. Yeah, listen, I'm sitting here talking to your friend Blanca, and all she has done is been bragging to me about what a stud you are. Yes, I feel like I already know you. Yeah, absolutely. So how long have you known her? Oh, really? Oh, she didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me I was calling your boyfriend. Well, listen, Brent, what I wanted to do is I wanted to set up a time that we could get together. Absolutely. What's it about? It's a great question, Brent. Listen, that's the reason why I wanted to get together. I said, this is what I asked Blanca. I said, listen, I asked her who was the sharpest person that she knew. She said you. Now I get why. And she also said, I asked her, who do you know that would want to make a strong 6-figure income? And she said you. Oh, you would like to make a strong 6-figure income. That's great. Well, listen, that's the reason why I need to get together with you. Yeah, we're one of the fastest growing companies right now on the planet, actually. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, we got a home office in Dubai, we've got one in Boca, and we've got one in Berlin. We just really are focusing on North America right now, and that's the reason why I wanted to meet with you. Yeah, let's get a cup of coffee, or you know what, I'm actually doing an open house Tuesday night at 7:30, or I've got one Thursday night at 7:30. Which of those 2 nights would be better? Would it be better to get a cup of coffee in the daytime? Okay, that's great. Yeah, well listen, let's get together tomorrow. Perfect. Yeah, of course Blanca will be there. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to meet you. That's awesome. Okay, stud. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, bye-bye. Boom. Now, what happened to her confidence? Now, listen. Sometimes it's going to be appropriate to call people with them. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you may want to do that at a phone zone or with a bunch of people working with us in Doobly that are part of MVP. The bottom line is, when I set these appointments, assuming that the time will allow for it and it's appropriate, her confidence goes through the roof when I've set up. So let's say I got Brent coming in tomorrow at Starbucks. We call up Jerem. She does the same thing. She calls Jerem. I grab the phone. I don't want her to try to explain it. I grab the phone. Jerem, listen, it's Buck. Yeah, listen, I was talking with Blanca. She told me that you're a stud. I said, listen, who is the most business-minded person that you know? And she said, you. Is that true? What's Jerem going to say? Yeah. Great. Listen, I need to get together with you. Is it better for you in the afternoons, morning, or is it evening better? Evening, perfect. We have an open house Tuesday and Thursday night at 7:30. Now I'm going to set these appointments. I'm going to get these 5 best contacts of hers to come and meet me. Whether it's at an open house, whether it's at a Starbucks, I'm going to have them meet me. Why? I know that I'm going to do a better job talking to these 5 best people than she is being my project. She being someone that I'm going to work with. And now her confidence is going up and up every time I set an appointment. Okay, when she knows that she's got 2 guys coming Tuesday, 1 guy coming tomorrow for Starbucks, and 2 guys coming Thursday, she's like, wow, this is really working. Now I'm going to go down to here. I'm going to say, listen, Blanca. So you get the importance of getting their best people set up. Now I'm going to go down to here. I'm going to listen, Blanca. What I want you to know is I'm very particular in who I sponsor. Okay? No, I don't just sponsor anybody. Okay? What I want you to know is that this is me, right here. And what's happened is that I brought in one of my best friends in the whole world named Sherry. I brought in one of my really, really good buddies named Wendell. I brought in another good buddy of mine named Mike. I brought in another killer lady right here by the name of Holly. I brought in another killer lady right here by the name of Renee. And I got another killer lady right here named Laura, who is just on fire right now with what's going on in her sales team. Right now, I've got more people that I brought in than that. But what I want you to know is it's very important that you really, really pay attention to what I want to show you right now. Okay, so now here we are, and we're talking about basically now building the value of working with us. So everyone that is working with you has the potential to be front level to you. And they're not going to see it valuable if you don't show them why. So listen, Blanca, as I was sharing with you, I brought in one of my best friends, Sherry. I brought in my buddy Wendell from church. I brought in Mike. I brought in Holly. I brought in Renee. I brought in Laura. Right? And these guys right now, between all of them, have brought in 15 sales directors. Okay? I couldn't tell you how many team coordinators and team leaders. We broke more team leaders, team coordinators, and sales directors than any other group in North America. It's how I went vice president. Right? So in other words, the reason that I was a third vice president in North America was because I plugged these 6 legs here into the system, and that system is now working. Okay? So what I want to know is if you were me and I were you, because right now I'm looking at sponsoring you, what I want to know is why would you sponsor you?
Well, I have a huge network.
You have a big network, okay?
I'm very disciplined.
You're very disciplined.
I'm motivated.
You're very motivated.
I usually get things done.
You get things done, okay? So you're a mover, not a talker, okay? And what she's doing right now is she is selling me for the very first time. And you'll have people sell you for 2 or 3 minutes. You know, I know lots of people. I'm outgoing. I'm teachable. And just let them tell you all the things that are great about themselves. And then at the very end, I'm going to go, okay, you know what, Blanca? I will sponsor you. And boom. Now, the other thing I'm going to let her know is I'm going to say, listen, Blanca, I can tell you right now, if you're going to become a sales director, if you're going to become a vice president or a senior vice president, there's a short way and there's a long way to do this. Okay, how do you want to do it?
Short way.
The short way. Okay, great. I got to get you to a training. Okay, I don't care if it's a basics, advanced, millionaire leadership. You know what? There's a basics coming up in Utah. There's an advanced coming up in Vancouver, Canada. There's a millionaire mastery coming up in Virginia Beach, or there's a leadership in San Diego, California. Which one do you want to go to?
I will start with basics.
Start with basics, and boom, I'm going to get her to go to the website and get signed up for basics. Okay, I cannot stress to you the importance of getting to one of our live trainings. I'm going to stress it to her. I'm going to let her know, look, okay, if I'm going to sponsor you directly, I'm going to tell you exactly what it takes for you to become successful, right? Military people understand training. Athletes understand training. I'm going to let you know right now, if I'm going to work with you, I need you to get trained, right? I can't be a babysitter. Fair enough? Okay, and again, look at what I'm doing. What would you say to me if I was sitting down doing this with you? All right? So now I'm going to say, listen, have you ever heard of a company called Amway?
I do.
Okay, Amway, just so you know, is like 70, 80 years old. It's pretty old. And they've got around 2 million people that are in that company, if you don't know. 2 million distributors, okay? What do you think it had been worth, Blanca, to be in the very beginning of Amway? Like, what do you think it had been worth to be involved in Amway? If you don't know, the majority of big money earners in Amway got started between its 7th and 15th year. Okay, do you think there are people now that look back that were in the right place at the right time that regret not getting started in Amway?
I'm sure.
Okay, do you think there are people that see Doobly right now that 5 years from now, 10 years from now are going to regret saying no because they didn't understand what it was? Okay, what I want you to know is that this right here, this is how Doobly is set up. This here is called a master distributor. He brought in a good buddy of mine, who brought in a good buddy of mine, and this right here is me. So I am number 1, 2, 3 from the top of this company. Okay, what that means is that means that you are going to be sponsored to me. You're going to be right here. You're going to be number 4. Okay, so right here is the master distributor. 1, 2, 3. I'm number 3. You are going to be number 4 right here. Do you think that'd be pretty valuable in a company that had 2 million? Do you think it'd be pretty valuable to be in the top 5? the top 10, the top 20. It's very important that all of you know who your up team is, who your upline is. In other words, you want to know if you're 7 from the top, you want to know if you're 10 from the top, 20 from the top. Because now as I'm talking there, I say, listen, what's important to understand is that this company here, if you don't know, Amway does about $10 billion in sales. If you don't know, Avon and Amway are the 2 biggest companies in direct sales. Okay, do you think with this idea we have with Doobly that we'll be bigger than those 2 companies in a lot shorter period of time? And the answer to that is yes. So to recap, on my second date after she's seen an exposure and she didn't say yes, I asked her, where do you see yourself in a couple of years? And you said where?
Vice President.
Senior Vice President. Great. I go, great. You want to get started as close as possible? And you said?
Yes.
She wants to get started as close, right? Yes, right here. Boom. She said a B, a TLA. I said Visa or MasterCard. And you said?
Visa.
Visa. Awesome. But if she said no, the only way I go to step 3 is if she says no right here. I go, let's talk about the value of money. Do you want to have no control in a bank or control in a business?
Control.
Control. Would you rather make $750 or would you rather make $22.50? $22.50. Then I go, great. Listen, who do you know that could do this? And she gave me the numbers. These are all of her customers. We said, great. Who are the 5 best people that you know? By now you know to be a sales director, right? It's pretty easy. You have to have 3 legs. But to be a vice president or senior vice president, you need to have 5. So why wouldn't we ask like what Michael Hansen says? Everyone knows 5 people, right? And out of those 5, we'll get 3. Okay. So now we put together a game plan, right? Then we go, great. Where do you? If you were me and I was you, why would you sponsor you? And she's selling me in all the qualities that she has. So now as we're recapping with Blanca, we're going through where do you see yourself? We know where she wants to be. We're going through, do you want to get started as close or as far away? She says close. We're going through the value of money if she says no. If she doesn't balk at getting started here, we go straight to customers. How many people do you know that could be customers? How many people do you know that could be builders? Who are the best people that you know? And let me help you call them. Let me help you get them to see an exposure. Now, some of these guys could come in person. Some of them could go to the website. We could give some of them a DVD, right? There's different ways to talk to her 5 best people, but I'm going to do my best to meet them. And then I'm going to ask her, you know, if you were me and I were you, why would you sponsor you? And she starts telling me all the great things about her. I talk about my team and all the sales directors and what we've done with our system. And I ask her, are you teachable? What's she going to say?
Yes.
Yes, great. I need you to get to a training. Which one? She said which one. Right? I draw this out here. Listen, have you ever heard of Amway? She said, yeah. I go, great. What would it be worth to be in the top 10, the top 20? What would it be worth in the top 100 of a company with 2 million people all over the world? And I tell her we're growing right now at such a fast rate, right? And you're going to be the top 4, the top 5, the top 10 people. You're working directly with me. If every one of you watching this video would do this second date form, again, all the forms and the videos that we're showing you on this website are here, and you print out 10 of these. You print out 20. Role play this with other people in your team. Get everyone in your team doing the survey. Get everyone in your team doing the second date. I can promise you that you're going to go team coordinator, sales director, and eventually vice president much faster by having lots and lots of people that are using this particular form. So I hope that helps you understand the second date. All I can tell you, everything that I'm showing you is exactly what I was able to do to go vice president in 1 year. It's so funny. So when Michael told me that I was the 3rd vice president in North America, and again, you get way more credit than you really deserve. I do not deserve the title of vice president because the only reason I did that was because of my team. And you know what's funny is the people on my team that are listening to the CDs, the people on my team that are using the second date form, the people on my team that are using the training program and using the Plan B DVD and using the website, the people on the team that are using all the tools that we have are getting phenomenal results, and the people that are trying to reinvent the wheel are the ones that are taking much longer to hit these different ranks. So again, use the form, watch this video over and over again, and when you can do it the way that I'm doing it right now, you're going to see you're going to be bringing in lots of A, B, and C, and D orders into your team. Hope it helps, and we'll see you at the top.